Hello, Calling Up Justice community. This is Claudia Alec, and today we are continuing to reflect upon and understand some of the rhetoric that is being used online as we discuss the insurrection of 2021, the United States insurrection of 2021. So, white nationalist, violent criminals stormed the White House. It seemed to be in collaboration or potentially with support from those in power on the ground. So, we're still learning exactly what took place. As we're discussing it, however, I am witnessing more and more problematic ableist talking points manifesting online. Supremacy culture loves to use ableism to distance itself from its responsibility for the acts of violence that are often perpetrated to maintain supremacy culture. Gigantic acts of gun violence. Those acts of gun violence are often tied to patriarchy, are often tied to white supremacy. Right now, this is incredibly legible. We have seen politicians, Republican politicians, who have been for months, for years, spreading talking points that are out of alignment with what reality is and encouraging their constituents to behave in ways that are out of alignment with what reality is and behave in ways that are violent and destructive to themselves and others. We have witnessed this. And we have also witnessed those same politicians going online and saying, oh, we're not related to these actions. That's not us. We actually think that those people are crazy. How many times after an act of gun violence have we heard for calls for more mental health care? We know what's going on. Let me read this tweet from you. This is from Project Let's. This is what they shared with us. And I will leave a link to this below so you can use this language for this tweet thread. It's a useful one. Thank you, Project Let's. We call out and name white supremacist violence without faulting on ableism, which is its backbone. No, Donald Trump doesn't belong in a psych ward. No, these domestic terrorists are not unhinged. They are not mentally unstable. They're white supremacists. Racism plus white supremacy are not forms of mental illness, they are forms of indoctrination. It is ableist and racist to excuse this type of violence by saying it's caused by mental illness. Mentally ill folks are much more likely to be victims of violence than to be perpetrators. Thank you, Project Let's. In moments like this, I find it useful to remind myself of the linguistic relationship between the words nauseated and nauseous. We don't always use those words correctly, do we? Nauseated is the act of feeling like you're going to throw up, to be nauseated. To be nauseous is to be the thing that makes someone feel nauseated. There is a reason why we continue to reach and grope reflexively to some of these ableist terms as we are experiencing them. I will name that I believe that many of the actions of the federal government are causing people to feel a lot of mental distress. And I can understand why they would want to describe the entire situation with a word like crazy. I'm attempting to use the word crazy making, just to be a little more accurate. All right, Calling Up Justice community, thank you so much for continuing to be fierce, to use an intersectional lens, and to speak out consistently against acts of violence and acts of supporting supremacy culture. I appreciate you, and I really, really want you to keep taking care of yourselves, keep dialoguing, keep DMing, and keep fighting for justice. Thanks, Calling Up Justice community.